Welcome to the podcast. Tonight we are here with Nick Alvear from Good Lion TV, and he's a friend of ours. He's also going to be part of the Truth Tour, and he'll be at the Stop in Los Angeles. And tonight's conversation, we're just going to go with the flow. Nick's a very go with the flow guy, and we were recently talking about a purchase, I believe, that Nick made for Jason Q. And Nick, you want to go into a little bit about the outfit that you got for Jason?
Cross Colors, Hip Hop Nation. It's from the 80s, 90s. It was a popular brand. I had Jason over and we did that 12-hour mega podcast. And there was a sweater on my chair and he was looking at it and he's like, "You have one of these?" And I said, "Yeah, dude." And I have the matching pants with it. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to gift this to you. Because he came over and showered me with gifts. And I felt like an asshole because I didn't have anything to give him. So I'm thinking, I'm going to send you this in the mail. And I can't picture him wearing it, but I know he's going to look amazing when he's wearing it because, you know, he's kind of I couldn't see him wearing all blue. But I sent it to him anyway and he was over the moon.
Right on.
I know.
Right on. Well, for those that don't know Nick is a filmmaker called Good Lion TV. He's also been banned on a few different channels, mainly YouTube, completely censored. We met Nick, Scott and I met Nick in person last summer down at Shasta. And we filmed a music video down there, and it was actually the other airstream in my airstream.
Love at first sight. Just brothers from the beginning.
I remember exactly when I met both of you, and we were sitting at that restaurant, right? And then you guys came in, and I was like, "Who are these motherfuckers? Are we allowed to cuss on this?" My bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. I just felt like you guys were from a movie. You know, like immediately I felt like you guys were characters in a movie that I was about to meet.
Right on. Yeah. We will take that as a compliment for sure.
Of course. Yeah.
I had met Nick about, I don't know, a month before, just solo when I went down to LA, and I couldn't believe I was like, is this Nick or is this Hercules? I mean, I didn't realize that Nick's not a small dude. I mean, he has
Samson.
Yeah, there we go.
Don't ever let her cut your hair, Nick.
No, I won't. Dude. My life is always magical when I have longer hair. When I work 9 to 5, and they make you cut it, it's just it loses its joie de vivre. The joy of life gets sucked.
You know, I did want to ask you about, and we can get back into hair because you do remind me of like the lion from the Wizard of Oz, but with courage and strength and tenacity. But remember the women that did the readings last year on Scott, you and I? Like, I can't. Yeah. It was amazing. Do you have? Yeah. That was amazing. So we were down at this event that we also met Brad Olson, Michael Jaco, Rob Potter, Alex Collier. And it was the coolest thing because Nick came out of the forest and he looked very relaxed, and he had this reading done, which I wasn't even familiar with. Can you tell us a little bit about, we'll start there, because that was a pretty profound moment for me to even understand you look very blissed out. So let's go back to that moment if you could.
That one was deep. I'd met that woman prior, and so seeing her there, it was like, "Hey, what's up? I have a question for you." One thing I asked her right away was if this woman who I was seeing, who you guys know who, it was my twin flame, and she confirmed it. And then I wanted to know about a same soul, someone who shares the same soul as you, coming down here to get more karmic lessons out of the way. And that was a friend I asked about, and she confirmed that. But then there was this thing where they were like, "Okay, if you're open to it, we're gonna look into your heart and see what's going on there." I was like, "Okay." And she saw a very thick, tall wall filled with this black goo, which is kind of weird because we know what black goo is associated with. And she was like, "Can I clear it for you?" And I let her clear it. I stood there, her and a friend were doing it. And afterward, it did feel, I've forgotten about this, you know? It felt good. I felt like she may have prepared me for the whole following year, because that was exactly a year ago. And I feel like there's been a big, huge loop. All these planets are in retrograde, including Mercury, and there's bigger retrogrades happening that don't last as short as a Mercury, because Mercury has a quicker revolution around the sun. And now, dude, it's been a year. And so many of the lessons that have started from that point, I feel like have ended. There were things I was doing then that I did not long ago that made me realize, whoa, this is the end of a chapter. And it was a big chapter because if I didn't learn all these things, I wouldn't end up where I'm going. And if I chose not to face those things, I wouldn't end up where I wanted to go. I'd probably end up in a gutter because so many things happened in my life in such a short period of time. It all pretty much started from almost dying in the Prius. I almost died in the Prius in 2019, and it shook me to my core because I thought, oh, my daughter wouldn't have had me around, and then I wouldn't have made films and music. Those were the only thoughts I had when I realized I almost drove off a cliff. And that kicked me into fifth gear. I'd just gone to Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within. There's all these techniques, power moves that generate more testosterone. You know, if you go like this for 2 minutes, you're gonna have 33% more testosterone as a man.
What?
No
No.
way.
So there's power moves, and what they make you do, like Tony would make you like create your power move, and mine was like, rah! And then like we all do your power move, and then you feel amped. So I was on this path, and I kicked in fifth gear, and then I LLC'd. I didn't know what I was gonna call it, but I wanted to make music videos and real estate videos. So we have our first real estate meeting in Santa Barbara, California. It's at the Good Lion Bar. And so I go to the bathroom, I go pee, TMI, and there's a typewriter with Ernest Hemingway's poem, The Good Lion. And it's about a lion with wings, and I if I can recall correctly, he didn't know how to use them. They were like deformed. And that to me was like a slap in the face, because all through college, it was actually like in the 10-15 minutes before math class, I would just write a screenplay. And I wrote a whole screenplay just in those 15 minutes of a math class before the teacher would come in. And that screenplay was called The Realm of Pun, about a dragon with these wings who he didn't know how to use them.
Oh, wow.
Every character he meets in the story is a pun. There's Rhino, and all he says is Rhino. He's always agreeing. And you got Monkey the Monk. You got Llama, that's Dolly the Llama. Mother Teresa, who I'm not putting in the movie anymore now that I know too much about her. But yeah, and then it hit me right there in the moment. I'm calling it Good Lion Films. And then I LLC'd that like 2 months after I almost died. And then 2 months after that, got fired for being a Trump supporter. And in the deepest moment of like suffering, like, wow, how am I going to pay for stuff for my wife and my daughter? And I saw Fall of the Cabal. And then I was like, hey, I'm making music videos like she's editing this. I could do this. And it was almost like I was a quarterback throwing a pass directly to someone with no one in the way. Like I saw the vision so clear, like I'm going to do that. And it was in that moment that I figured out how I'm going to do it. And the first formula became the rest of the formulas. It was basically like everyone did threads on Twitter. And a thread's genius because you're only limited to like, I don't know, 250 characters or less. I don't remember. But that means you can't fiffle faffle. You're going to get your point out quick. And
like an elevator pitch.
Yeah. And if you got a bunch of,
Right. And when you said, so the movie's Fall of the Cabal, because you said it, and I just wanted people to hear which movie that was, right? Is Fall of the Cabal?
Yeah.
Right.
Osbard,
okay.
Yeah. I got that on goodline.tv if you guys want to watch. Yeah.
There are like 8 of them now.
Oh, geez. The first one is, there's about 22.
Oh,
so.
yeah. It's like,
but anyway,
there's 2 seasons, and I don't even know where she left off. I think she's done with the second season.
Well, she puts out one like every, it's her and the woman she works with. It seems like every month and a half or so, something else pops up on BitChute, because obviously she can't put it on YouTube. But yeah, Janet Ossenbart, I believe is
there. You go. Yeah. I met her on the phone once, and we were both like little girls. We were like so excited about each other. I'm like, I'm meeting you. She's like, I'm meeting you. It was cool.
That's awesome.
Because she inspired me. And then like, I don't even know if she realizes how much she really inspired me to do what I did. Because I remember I made that one. All right, so I'm like, I'm gonna make a movie. I'm going on Twitter. I'm gonna find a thread, and then I'm like, that's the thread. The history of elite child sex trafficking was the thread. And I'm like, I don't know who wrote this, but I'm going to ask him, can I use this and make a movie? He said, yeah, but don't use my name. Don't like market my name. I'm like, who the fuck are you? And he's like, I'm the co-creator of Wikipedia, dude. I was like, wait, whoa. Like, and then shit kept happening like that. Like, I'd go to someone, I'd be like, can I use your thread? And they're like, yeah, but they would be someone who's already really popular. Like Tommy G, I think was one of the other ones. But yeah, and then so my favorite writer right now though is Nick Hinton. We'll go into that soon. But anyway, I made that thread into a movie, and this is what I did. I got so lucky in the beginning making movies. It's like God was saying, you're doing the right thing. Keep going. Here are your clues. Out of Shadows came out right when I finished my movie. So on every single post on Twitter where everyone was like, Out of Shadows, oh my God. I'm like, hey, it's a long movie. If you want to watch the short version, watch this. And then I'd put my movie on there.
And what was the name of that one?
The history of elite child sex trafficking.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it's called Swamp. It's called Swamp, and then that's the subtitle.
Got it.
Yeah, and
that's on Goodland.
It's on Goodland.tv. It's my first one, so if you watch my Purview with Oprah and then watch that one, you're gonna see how I grew. You're gonna see what happens when you make a movie every 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
I know. Someone wanted to like show that on their podcast. And I was like, don't. I have to remake it because I didn't realize a lot of things back then. I saw Mouthy Buddha and he inspired me too. That completely changed the way I make movies, like sound effects. I never did sound effects. He taught me sound effects. That guy's good.
Wow.
If he's still alive. Do you hear he might be dead?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Mouthy Buddha. He did the pedo wood. He was paranoid not too long after him expressing paranoia of people in black following him. I saw a thing on Telegram start spreading around saying that he committed suicide.
Oh shit.
I don't know his name, and I've tried reaching out to him. I've spoken to him before. Not spoken, I've reached out to him and he communicated. And but yeah, and I don't think there's much coming out from him.
What, like Isaac Cappy committed suicide, kind of suicide, or?
Oh yeah, dude, I think he was murdered. If this is a real story, because he was barking up the wrong trees and he was very original with his research. Like Cuties, he exposed that pretty hard, and then Wayfair, he exposed that pretty hard because he's a heavy researcher. So he was getting death threats. And when I heard that he potentially was murdered, that scared the shit out of me. Because I went through jail and the FBI saw all my movies and they said I was a threat to society. And they could be watching me still. I don't have an ankle monitor on. I was at January 6th. I was there.
Yeah, the only reason you got out of the situation that you were in DC was because you were a filmmaker.
Because of your footage.
Yeah.
That's what exonerated you, so to speak.
Yeah, in many ways, it was like a team effort. Cool story was that Cash Kelly, the Streetlight, great podcast, dope black dude, has like 10 people on. He says, don't attack the person, attack the problem. And he'd have liberals and Republicans on, and they would all get together and agree on shit. And I thought, that's cool, man. I'm going to start getting my fans in. I'm just going to invite fans who are in the chat. I'm going to send them a link to come into Zoom. And it became really cool to see what happened. And sometimes it was awkward. Sometimes like abusive husbands would get in the mix. And I'm like, this is getting too much. Wow. But the inspiration, though, went full circle because J6 happens. I filmed the whole thing. I'm telling everybody, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here. Watch. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like, yes, I am. Because I had a really good fan turned friend. Sarah hooked me up because her man had gone to jail and she knew exactly what to do to speed everything up. And so she did that. Like they were going to keep me in there, but she's like, make me your power of attorney. Let me make some decisions for you. All of a sudden getting transferred. I went on a tour of 4 jails. Hardest tour of my life, dude. But I get to the DC jail. I totally skipped the first jail where I was a celebrity. That was cool. 30 days in the Bay with 30 grown black dudes. And I'm like 11% black. So like it triggered a lot of coolness in me and them. And it was they saw me on TV. They saw the riot on TV. And then they saw me get arrested on TV, and then I'm walking in there. So they're like, hey, it's you. Everyone in that whole jail was doing that. The nurses, the security, everyone. So I was like, this is kind of cool. And then I went through the jail, the whole 4 tour. I got to realize how lucky I was to be in that jail, in that bay, doing this tour of 4 jails, trying to get me to DC. Take a bus for 5 hours, stay in a jail. Next day, while you're about to get a full night rest, they're like, okay, get in the bus again. You're going to the next jail. Almost get beat up at that jail by a bunch of BLMers who were locked up. And then I get moved right on time, dude. They were like yelling in the middle of the night, fuck Trump. And I'm like in my bed, like covering my face with the blanket. And then they fall asleep. And then the homies on my right, I was like, yo, you guys are talking about drugs? Do you want to know about adrenochrome? And they're like, what's that? And then I like red pilled them for like 2 hours. And the dudes on the left, the BLMers, I know they were listening. And there were all these, yeah, it was on purpose too. I'm like,
the Black's Law Dictionary was a big part of this too, wasn't it? Was it? Yeah.
In the 30 days that I was in that one jail in Virginia, there was a guy who came in, kind of a bigger dude, fat, not sure if he was white or black. He looked black, but he was white. And he is black. He reminded me of my brother. He had a breathing machine and all these books. And so he goes, excuse me, I heard you make conspiracy films. I was like, yeah, documentaries. He's like, okay. And he's like, have you seen this? And it's Black's Law Dictionary. And I'm like, no. And I didn't know about this. Like I got taught this in jail. And then I start going around talking about it. This guy was brilliant, man. Dwayne. I've been trying to look for him because of Trump, he was able to basically say, I'm unhealthy. I got a breathing machine. I'm going to prison where you guys are going to feed me and put all this money into me so I can work, but I'm not going to be of any use. Let me do it from home. So what was cool was this guy had a clothing line with a lion on it. And then that's like where we started to engage more. And anyone who had a lion, which is kind of rare, like another dude had a lion tattoo. We hit it off. I ended up writing both of their life stories on paper because of they're amazing, intelligent men who were growing up on streets where drugs were sold by 10-year-olds. And a brilliant mind is just going to adapt to their surroundings. So they crushed it at selling drugs. And then they adapted into a new form of doing all that. But a new form, like not selling drugs, selling clothes and then selling construction. But yeah, that guy lit my world on fire when I found out sovereignty, straw man. It was like he was reading the Bible every night, every morning. I really love that dude. It was sad to leave. But then when I get to DC, you know, after I woke up all those people with adrenochrome and all this stuff, Jonathan Mellis, beautiful dude. It was the first time I got to speak to another J6er on this whole journey. So it was probably day 30, and this dude has long hair, and he's like, yeah, I'm a filmmaker. I'm like, I got long hair, and I'm a filmmaker. Be my best friend. And he was so opposite of me. He was hyper. I might seem hyper, but I'm kind of an introvert. And I was like, sweet, I'm going to bunk with this dude. I'm going to make sure we're bunk buddies. I'll teach him how to meditate, and he'll entertain me because he doesn't stop talking. And then we get into our cell or our bay, and they're like, you're all going to be solitary confinement. And I was like, whoa, fuck, this sucks. I wanted to hang out with Jonathan. And he's like, you choose your pick, number 8 or 13 or 24. I chose 13 because it was on the first floor and there's a TV in front of it. And as I'm walking, now here's where the story connects with other stories. People are like, where are we going? There's a dude in his cell 15, so 13, 14, 15. And he's like, I was like, oh, okay. And I go and he's like, yo, what's your name? I was like, Nick, what's your name? He's like, Cash. And I was like, I'm like, wait, Cash Kelly? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, dude. Like, you inspired me like to do podcasts that built a community that got me through jail, pretty much. And he goes, oh, sick. And he's like knocking for the guard. And he's like, guard, open my door. And he opens the door and he's like, yo, man, anything you need? And he just like points to all of his commissary, like he's been there for 4 years. I'm like, damn, you got a grocery store in here, dude. I'm like, I'll take some of that. I think it was like, I got not anchovies, like fucking sardines, some crackers, some Kool-Aid. And then I was like, yo, can you text my friend Sarah and let her know where I am? Because they'll move you from place to place. And everyone's like, where is he? How do we give him money? And so he did. That guy's going to be in jail for like 5+. And he's got like 5+ kids. He has like 10 kids.
So he's able to have a phone.
Yeah, he's a baller in there. He was a baller like I was a baller in the first jail. He showed me his Android. So normally in all these jails over there, in the first jail I was in, it was 30 days and only 4 Android tablets. Whenever someone called on FaceTime, whatever, it would show the person's name who it's for. So whoever was around it, they'd yell your name like Nick, and then I'd go answer. So with you could sign in with your account number, and then you'd have all your information on there, all your text messages. So for me, it was pretty cool, man. I was single, and there was a ton of love, dude. A lot of chicks. Chicks would call me and show me like them naked. It was awesome. I'm like, I'm in jail and getting all this love. People call me and cry, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be crying. Don't cry. Don't cry for me. And so with Cash, he did the same thing. He started scrolling. He's like, look at this. And I was seeing all the ladies, and I'm like, bro, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It was so cool. And then everyone was like, bro, you're not getting out of here, man. I'm like, yes, I am. Watch. One guy's like, man, I was just in Florida, and I was waiting for someone ahead of me to get their bond hearing. They molested a 13-year-old, and they didn't deem them a threat to society. They gave them bond, bail, and then not with the person after, not the J6er. They said he was a threat to society. So they let a pedophile go, but not a J6er. And that's what he told me. But I was like, no, dude, this is my first time ever getting in trouble. So like, they'll allow it. And they did. And it's been just a fucking wild journey ever since, dude. It's been like personal shit. I think I saw this thing Mike Tyson did. He said in an interview, if you're doing really good in life, most likely you're one of God's chosen. And if you're chosen by God, the devil's coming right after you. So that's kind of like what's been going on, man. Like, I don't choose where I go. Like, I was given a place to stay because a fan was the only opportunity to be my custodian. Legally, they were responsible for me. My parents didn't want to do it. I had no one else in California, and my daughter lives in California. So that was just weird because I thought we were gonna have a romance because I only saw her face from jail. Then I saw her in person. I was like, this ain't gonna work out. And then we're sleeping in the same bed. I didn't have my boundaries on lock, so I couldn't communicate good enough or well enough. And it just turned weird. She kicked me out in 2 months. And I'm like, well, all right. So I'm going to go to a hotel then. And I didn't tell my probation officer. I didn't tell them for like 2 months. And they're like, you're supposed to tell us when you move, dude. It's like, you guys were supposed to be at the airport with my ankle monitor. I had to call. And 2 days when I got here, asking, where's my ankle monitor? So unorganized. But anyway, like, dude, I spent like maybe 4 months living hotel out of hotel, carrying all my computer equipment, iMac Pro, music equipment. It was such a pain in the ass. And then I ended up living at all these places where people were facing some demons. And I feel like sometimes maybe I was like an angel going in there, but it chewed me up too.
Sure.
And I think that the whole year chapter has come to an end because of all the realizations. Like, if none of that happened, I wouldn't have grown. I wouldn't have learned about myself. And yeah, in many ways, it's like I'm still in jail with those J6ers in a weird way. I spoke to one on the phone the other day. I don't remember where she was at. She's a pink hat lady. She's on house arrest. Like, you can't go to the store and buy anything. Dude, I smoked weed at the Capitol, and I don't even get drug tested. I can smoke weed. I can do any drug. They're not going to drug test me. But that's the crazy thing, dude. Is like, I got really lucky in this whole thing, and I'm the dude who filmed it all. There are other people who filmed it, but man, check this out. The prosecution sent my older lawyer. He quit once I pulled sovereignty shit on him. He quit because he was afraid.
Oh shit.
I know. Shit, where was I? Oh yeah, they sent that lawyer the discovery. The discovery is what the prosecution is going to show the judge and say, this is why we want him to go to jail for this long. And their first exhibit was, look at this photo here from his camera. This is from his footage. You can see clearly, this is what they're writing. There are police officers in front of him as he's about to enter the Capitol. He knew what he was doing was wrong. And when I saw that, dude, my face got red. And I was like, this is a lie. I don't remember that frame from my footage. I'm pulling out my footage, which they took all my gear, so they thought they had it. And they did. I had put it on Dropbox before I went to jail. Like, I didn't know I was going to jail. I put it on Dropbox. And then I get out of jail. I'm like, oh, thank God it's on Dropbox. And then I look and I realized they just planted false evidence.
Wow.
And the lawyer at that time, a DC lawyer, he was like, you'd be a really good lawyer's assistant because of how organized I was in showing the counter evidence. At minute, blah, 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 this is my frame. I literally had a no cut in this stream of a clip that they claimed to grab a screenshot from. So I showed the whole freaking thing. And they lied. So I just met a lawyer who's defending J6ers, and that made his ears perk up. Because I think he's going to build a case showing how I'm not the first dude they did this on. I caught them. So then when we came to the sentencing, they they brushed it under the rug. And I was like, this is crazy. Like the prosecution was like, Your Honor, the Exhibit A is incorrect. We're just going to have to go over that. We'll skip it. That's it? You guys are planning false evidence and you're just going to say it's incorrect and not get reprimanded or in trouble for it? It's all part of the setup. And so there's a lot of other people in there who didn't film and are getting that kind of treatment.
So there's probably quite a few that got planted evidence, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, it's modus operandi at this point. Yeah,
man,
it's scary.
Shit, I remember when you were catching us up on this at the house in Shasta, and I just looked over at Joe, and I'm like, "Well, we're on a few lists now." I'm looking down at your ankle monitor. I'm like, "Well, might as well just take the dive because we're in the club." And I mean, not that close. Yeah.
No, and if you would have flown with me and they saw that you were flying with me anywhere, you would get on a blacklist. Like every time I fly anywhere, it's like I get there and I have to wait an hour because they call management and go, oh, we have a guy on the blacklist. We don't know what to do. And then they escort me to my own. It's like being famous. They escort you everywhere. I'm like, this is actually kind of cool. I just come a little early and I get to cut all these lines. But they like scan everything for bombs 3 times. When you're going in, or is it twice? No, it's 3 times. Maybe it's just twice. They do it when you're going in and then when you're about to get into the terminal or through the into the plane. I don't know why. Like they think maybe you meet up with someone in the bathroom and get a bomb. I don't know. But I only missed a flight once.
Bomb?
It's all for bomb material. Like I'm some dangerous terrorist. This is insanity, dude. Like my dad wouldn't even donate money at the time to me while I was in jail because he thought I was a terrorist.
Right.
Wow.
This is crazy how they've like really turned.
And your family, that's the other thing. Your family, you don't really communicate with them much because they view you as this, whatever, criminal or whatever.
Yeah. I sent a happy birthday to my dad. I don't even think I sent one last year, and I don't even think he said happy birthday to me last year, but I did a little video of like pictures of us, him and I from years ago. And then he's like, everyone in that video still loves you, but you should go and get some help. You should go get a therapist or get some medicine. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, why? Why do you think that? Actually, if I asked him that, I think he would have a good answer. Because not many people go through fucking FBI breaking a door down while you're making music with these machine guns pointed at you. That's a very traumatic experience that I kind of was so cool about. But quite recently, I started crying a lot. And that's what came up was, holy fuck, dude, this whole roller coaster of a test. Like when you're surrendered to a bigger force that you've been making movies about and you know what they're capable of, and then they're like, you become their toy, their product, and it's just like, how am I gonna Houdini out of this bitch? And I did. And every guard was like, why are you happy? Why are you so happy? And a lot of the guards at the DC jail, they were like, you guys are the most well-behaved group of people we've ever had. Because we were dope. We would do prayers at night, even though we're all in our own solitary confinement. We could see each other sometimes through a little window. There's usually one person who's been there longest who ends up being the guy who cleans, and then he ends up being the dude who transfers notes and does favors. There's a lot of things in jail that you could get drugs in jail, bro. Through steel doors, you can transfer alcohol. Like, it's cool. It's crazy. The smelling weed in jail, that was tight. I didn't smoke it, and I was upset that they didn't call me the doobie smoker. But like
Rotunda
for smoking under the rotunda.
That's right.
Yeah, man, it was hard. The whole thing was very hard and traumatic, and I feel really bad for people who lost everything. Like my homie Gina, she was in jail for 45 days. Still has an ankle monitor. She was here at the party yesterday. She lost everything, her whole entire career.
Oh,
for me,
and that was
the opposite.
That was just 45 days for her, because there's people that are still in jail over there. Dude, I mean, I can't imagine what they've lost. I mean,
I don't know why, as a people, that we're tolerating this. Like, why aren't we demanding something be done about this? I mean, they're held without charge, essentially. This is the total absence of due process in the United States of America. Are you kidding me? And
the judge who was prosecuting me, he was saying, like, we've been very fair with everyone. Judge Cooper, shout out. I wonder if he'll see it. He's like, we've been very fair with everyone. Look at you. You've got fair due process. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, because they use COVID to keep extending the dates, and it's not like, oh, we're gonna do it next week. If a lawyer doesn't show up, or if they want to rearrange the date, they have to wait 90 days to continue. That's 90 days you're in jail while nothing's happening.
Yeah. Right.
90 days. Luckily,
well, I was saying, DC's not, it's its own entity, right? I mean, it's not technically part of the United States.
So, like, I'm a foreign.
Yeah.
I did shit on foreign land. It wasn't in the United States, so that's why it got all so sloppy. Because here in California, my probation officer is courtesy probation officer. What the heck is that? That means she reports to a probation officer, my probation officer in DC. I should know who that is. I don't know who that is, because the one lady who it was all of a sudden disappeared. Does that mean DC's gone and it's all a show? Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. Can you clarify for people, like, what is DC again? It escapes me right now.
Oh, the District of Columbia?
Yeah, but that it's...
Yeah, no, it's like the City of London. It's its own, it's like the Vatican. It's
feels like it.
Yeah.
We got plenty of dogs here.
We're getting inundated by dogs. Joe's dogs over here. My dogs in the she just knocked over my beer, I think, just so she could drink it. This is Lily.
Oh, yeah, she got that drunk face.
I'll set this here.
Yeah, and I know she did it on purpose.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she likes those sours.
Yeah, she does.
Dude,
we got the City of London, we got the District of Columbia, we've got
Vatican.
Yeah, and then I think Puerto Rico kind of factors in a way, because it's.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to talk about something I don't
territory.
Right.
The U.S. territory.
Yeah, the whole point is, and this has been a long-standing tradition for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But to have the seat of justice and the seat of law for the United States in a foreign land, and nobody's raising an eyebrow, it's a little strange.
That's why it's cool to see, like, is it Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yes.
And then what's the other dude? Matt. Oh, they all came in together, dude.
Gates.
Yeah, Gates.
Yeah.
They came into that jail.
Shit.
Yeah.
Or for trafficking, I think it was.
Wait, say that again.
They tried to frame him for, I think it was.
Whoa.
It was like it was inappropriate
with a younger
contact with a minor or something like that.
They do that, man. FBI will throw. They're like projecting.
Fast. Yes, 100%. They're the ultimate projectors.
They're the ones who are doing it. Yeah. There's a lot of judges and stuff who are doing all that, so that's why it gets really scary. But dude, the day before, on January 5th, walking around with Lewis. That was the first time I met Lewis. But what's ironic is that I grew up in Ventura. Lewis lives in Camarillo. I don't know if I think he tells people that. And they're right next to each other. They're like 10 minutes away. And we meet for the first time in DC. It's like karmic shit. Like we might have been battle bros in American history. Because walking around DC, dude, such a dark vibe. Such a dark vibe.
You were hanging with Lewis in DC?
On January 5th. Yeah,
no
we went to Freedom Square, dude. And I saw some people like a girlfriend of mine, Alexa Bowen. I saw her there and I was like, damn, man, life is such a small thing, such a small circle. When I was waiting for Trump's rally, I got there early and I met a fan turned friend. Shit, man, I miss him. I got to contact him. We're chilling there like 5 a.m., 4 a.m. And then we're just kind of close to the stage. All this bulletproof glass shit. And then all these people behind us. There's probably like 1 million to 2 million people. It was claustrophobic. And I turned to my left and there's a dude named Ed smoking his vape. My first name's Eduardo. So I'm like, hey, man, what's up? And then I had a bunch of joints. So I gave him a joint and he was loving it. Fast forward, we're all marching to the Capitol, not with any intention. I was like, what are we going to stop right now? We can't stop anything. It's not like they're going to see us and go, oh, so many people, let's not vote that way. But we get there finally after taking a piss all over the side of everywhere because no bathrooms were anywhere. People were peeing everywhere. They didn't look out for us. And then I look up and everyone's going in. And I look at my homie Chris and I'm like, dude, I can't control this. I'm going. If you want to come with me, dude. I'm not going to slow down. And it was almost like I forcefully, energetically brought him with. And some dude in fucking military getup grabbed him by the shoulders and said, you don't want to go. You don't want to go there. And there was a lot of weird stuff like that happening that day. And I turned around and I lost Chris. And I was like, I'm going. And I went under the bleachers, fucking crawled through, made it to these packed staircase where a woman had to get like launched upward to get through. I just like squished myself through and I walked up the side of the stairs where no one was walking. I just got there super fast. And then I'm like, look at all these people. Oh my gosh, so many people. This is like the bleachers area where they do the inauguration. And I'm like, I gotta try a live feed. So I stopped recording and then I try to do a live feed and I'm not paying attention. And I get shot in each thigh with a rubber bullet. It was almost like the guy was trying to go for my nuts and my angels were like, literally the dude was trying to get my nuts. And I looked down and I'm like, oh no. So I stopped that. I hit record. I turn around and that's where I got the shot of the cops letting us go in. They let us walk in. So I get up in there and it's like, ooh, this is like a day in the museum. This is very neat. So
in that moment when the cops let you in, was there any part of you that felt like, oh, I shouldn't go in, or that was reluctant, or were you just like, well, it seems like everyone's doing this?
That was exactly what I thought. I'm like, I don't see any signs saying I can't go in there. Everyone and their mom is going in, whether they're 10 or 80. I'm going. How are they going to find me? How will I get in trouble? And then a video, 7 million views comes out with me smoking in there, all chilled. Because it was crazy, man. Like, I got in there and I was like, okay, I have to smoke weed here. I have a pipe. I have some weed. I don't have joints because I gave it all away the day before. Because a dope ass fan sent me 2 ounces. She knows who she is. She sent me 2 ounces in the mail. It was fantastic. So then I just gave out a bunch of nugs. And then I rolled 17 joints the night before J6 because of Q. And I didn't realize I still had joints. So the first thing I do is I smoke out of a pipe. I asked a random to just film me. And that was it. I thought that was going to be it. I'd show my friends at home.
Yeah.
And then I like open my fanny pack and I open up a rock cone and I'm like, damn. I'm like, wait, oh my God, I got 7 joints. I was like, hey guys, we're going to do something. Let's smoke out the Capitol. And then I'm like, do you smoke weed? Everyone said, yeah. I'm like, do you smoke? Okay. But okay, here's the coolest part though, because I'm up there, and just before I see the joints, I see Ed. I'm like, bro, how are we in here at the same time? Like, how did you get here that fast too? You're like 60, and you were just way the fuck over there with me. Like, I don't even know where you went, but he's there and he's smoking weed with me now. It's like a small world of energy that just clicks. So we smoked out fat in there, man, and there were cops walking by, like these wimpy security guards. They weren't real. They were like mall cops. And that's why they were like afraid. That's why they moved away from the door. And then all of a sudden, once things got heavier, because where I was the party where everyone has these felony charges. I was in the center in the hallway. HBO made a movie called 4 Hours at the Capitol. I was in it. I'm like the comic relief, because I'm the doobie smoker. I'm the dude who smoked a doobie there, and the guy who filmed me, who's cool as fuck. He's when I got out of jail, I got to talk to him. He works at the Daily Caller, which is Tucker Carlson's news outlet. This dude's up there and he goes, "Hey, what kind of weed are you smoking?" And I said it's Pinkberry. And he puts on Twitter, "Man lights doobie under the rotunda." That's where the doobie smoker came from. And that got 7 million views. That's where my brother told the FBI. He put my full name and said at FBI. And then I'm seeing all these kids I went to school with doing the same thing. And in retrospect, it's like, thank you. Because if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have had, I guess, a way into sharing my movies. Because, I started getting in the truther community, going on a lot of truther show, Nino's, Jaco, Ward, Catherine Edwards, she's tight. Alpa, and they all pretty much helped Good Lion grow to a certain extent.
Right.
Had that not happened, yeah. So I thank my brother. He was supposed to do it. They were supposed to tell on me. I got away for 30 days without getting caught. I didn't use my credit card. I didn't use my phone. I ditched my SIM card. A very cool homie, Million, he accepted me in. He lived in Virginia Beach. So it was kind of cool. Like he said, he sent some random taxi driver 2 hours to come pick me up. And I think I got lazy and I used my card at the CVS under the apartment building that we lived at. And I actually think this is where I fucked up. I didn't fuck up. It was actually divine. There's a dude in a wheelchair at the gym at the bottom of this apartment complex. And he started venting to me. I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "My son is just getting on my nerves." And I'm like, "Well, what's up with your son?" It's like, "Well, he used to work for the FBI." And I'm like, because I'm like running from the FBI. At the time I didn't know I was on a list. So I didn't think I was running. But technically I was, because I didn't go home to California where they were waiting for me. So, and then he says, "My son came over the other day and I used to be a loan shark. So I know what it looks like when you're going to go out and kill someone. So my son came over and I knew what he was doing." And I said, "Son, I thought you retired from the FBI." He's like, "No, once you're with the FBI, you're always with them." This dude's killing people for the FBI. So I'm like, "Man, you just told me a lot of shit, man. Let me tell you some shit. I'm a J6er. And I think he told his son. Because we'd go to this bar just around the corner. And the dudes I was with, they were hip. They knew what was going on. And they were noticing faces that weren't normal faces of that bar. One was this black dude. And he was on his phone, just kind of like staring at us. And that was one of the dudes who came in and broke the door open. They had like that steel, whatever that's called, ram. And yeah, I think that's what did it. And from the get-go though, man, it was like, I'm good. Because the FBI agents that were there were hot. And they were handcuffing me, checking out my tattoos, making me feel good. So I told them everything. Also because I'd just taken half an Adderall before that. I told them everything. I was all calm, smiling in my mugshot. Yeah. There was a moment in booking where I was like, "Oh my God, this has happened. I'm in jail. How long is this going to be?" I was like panicking silently. And then my external was one dude here really having a hard time banging on the glass, yelling, and I'm like, oh. And then I look over here and there's a dude just silent. And I was like, okay, I want to be like that guy. And the whole time it was like that, man. Like, you get thrown into a cell with someone you don't know, and you're like, I hope they're cool. The first person I got thrown in with, it was like I was in jail with Chris Tucker. We had a blast. We were just laughing. So the whole time I was really blessed to be around good people, and I had little challenges. I almost got in a fight like a few times, just because me being me. I was meditating and doing Tai Chi in the area where a dude always worked out. And so he got so mad but didn't say nothing and beat somebody else up. And everyone was like, yo, Nick, you knew that's your fault. You know, he beat him up because of you. I'm like, no. There's a lot of things that happen, man.
Jeez.
I know, and there's still people in there, man. Like, what? And now they're doped up. Like, that's a cause to be on like depression meds. I am not on depression meds, bro. Like, it makes you numb, I'm sure, and that's what you can call for that right away when you're in there. Like, I'm gonna lose my mind. I have no connection. I get 1 hour to come out, and in that hour, I got to shower and order food. I don't get to talk to anyone. This is insane, dude. They're making people's souls go dry in there. Fucking assholes. I hope they hear this. I hope they know I think there are guards in there who are abusing people in there because they hate Trump. They're literally abusing I remember I got a flavor of it. We developed a system because Cash Kelly was so popular in there that he had his own iPad kind of thing. And it's like, yo, bro, I want to use it too. So we developed a system where every 3 hours, a guard would let the cleaner dude come out and rotate the iPads. One guard came in and yelled at us and said, you guys can't use your iPads for 2 days now. What the fuck is this? What are you trying to do here? I was like, dang, what's going on, man? Has this guy not had sex in a while? And that's the dude who got really intense. Ryan Samsel is a guy who got beat up in there. And I bet you it was this correctional officer. I think his jaw broke, orbital around his eye, the bone broke. He just got crushed. They put him, I think he was handcuffed, and they just went to town. And they've been using all kinds of tactics where people are finding stuff in their food. And they're like, whoa, I don't know if we can. And now there's a weird dynamic in there where some of the J6ers are like, hey, man, we think that guy's like a plant, an FBI plant. And then it's just weird because people don't know the intentions behind other people. And then there are nice individuals who've started fundraisers who are playing God and saying, you get fundraising, you don't, you do, you don't. It's like, why don't you just distribute it fairly? Why are you judging? You know, like, so it's gotten so fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, when you were in the rotunda, I mean, to the best of your recollection, how many feds did you smoke out?
None.
How do you know?
I know, right? What if Ed was? I feel like Ed was a time traveler. He kind of had this. Yeah. Oh, he's great. I got him on video. I've put him on my Instagram. I don't know his fate, what has happened to him. If they found him, maybe he was fed. Sometimes I wonder if they like fucked with Looking Glass technology and they're like, keep an eye on Eduardo Gonzalez. My name is Nick Alvear, but in jail, it's like Eduardo Nicholas Alvear Gonzalez is my full name. So in jail, they just use Eduardo Gonzalez. And I'm like, this ain't even me. Like, I'm Nick Alvear. It was like a karmic thing. Like, that's my mom's whole thing. Like, Gonzalez, you know, 2 Z's. I don't know. I hope that they get out, man. And I don't know how it's going to happen. Trump has only recently spoke about it. He said he'd pardon everybody. We better have a fucking party, dude. If this happens, dude.
Oh, yeah, that has been a bit of a question. Just like, why, why are they still in there?
They want no one to ever do that again. Or actually, they set it up. They wanted us to go in there. They didn't have real security on purpose. And Ray Epps, I brought this up to the judge. I was so scared because I don't want to go back to jail. But in retrospect, I would have been like, can I just go back to jail for 45 days? And that would have been it. There wouldn't have been probation. But Ray Epps is an FBI agent caught on film yelling, tomorrow we got to go in the Capitol. And people
over
are
and
like,
over.
Fed right away. Trump supporters smelled it right away. And then this, what's his name? John Sullivan, Insurgents USA, the leader, a little scrawny dude. He was at the front lines while Trump is still speaking. He's at the front lines, breaking barricades, going through, trying to get in. And they all had fresh new MAGA hats. Ooh, you're such a Trump supporter with your new hat. Yeah, so, and that guy got out of jail the next day, and he was given $50,000 for his footage. Fuck
yeah,
dude, man, that guy's a scrawny little scum.
I just don't know how people can't see it for what it is. I mean, they're just the mind control is so intense that they don't, they can hear it from someone who's actually been there, and they still like, no, it's a whatever they want to call it, starts with an I. It's just ridiculous.
Well,
I
Marjorie
know.
Taylor Greene and Gates are really the only two that I've seen very vocal about this. The McCarthy, or there's one other that's kind of been a little vocal, but I mean, this is so not America. I mean, like that. I'm shocked that we're tolerating this at all.
Yeah,
I tell my dad that.
Not even really discussed. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I grew up with all these revolutionaries on the wall. My dad was like Che Guevara, and they had like Salvador Allende from Chile. Like they were always giving me that vibe. And I'm like, look, you got one. You have one as a son, and you're not listening to him. This is so sad. And it's like, how could they not even listen? First movies I made when I came out was Pervywood 9, Volume 1 and 2. And 1 was for my dad, and 2 was for my mom. I was really hoping they'd watch it, and they didn't.
You haven't even seen them.
No, and I started off with paying homage to their roots. So in the first one, it's Chile. I show what happened with Nixon and Harry Kissinger. They went and bombed the White House in Chile, and my dad was 12, and his dad was communist. So they had all these communist posters and books and everything. They had to go burn it all because what they were doing was rallying all these communists into their huge stadium and killing them. My uncle was one of them in there, and one of the executors was his student from when he was a professor, and the student's like, Senor Alvear, and my uncle was probably thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die. So he didn't say anything. So then the next day he's like, Senor Alvear, I've been trying to get you out of here. Come on, let's go. So he freed him. But people were getting murdered left and right. So my dad and his dad went to Colombia. And that's where my dad lived until he got his visa to come to the United States. My mom was a blooming musician on a foreign exchange, and they end up in the same city. First documentary I ever made was How They Met. It's called How They Met. And like now they're not even. And the second movie I made was about Venezuela, because that's where my mom's from. It's where I'm from. Pervywood Volume 2, 9 Volume 2. And that's all Dominion based. Dominion. You can't really say much anymore on YouTube, but I mean, if you know, and that's where it started. It was Hugo Chavez who actually had Dominion, I believe, created, and that's where they first tested it out, and that's what completely destroyed Venezuela, because Venezuela was the #1 country in South America. I remember going there, and it was booming. Everyone got school given to them. So everyone was promised a really good job. All my cousins were either lawyers, architects, engineers, and now they're all in America doing their thing because there's nothing in Venezuela anymore. Like, you don't count money as 20s. You now count money as stacks and weight. That's how you pay for stuff, is the weight. There are skyscrapers that have been taken over by rogue gangs. Like, I don't want to go there. I will get robbed. I know, dude. It's inflation galore. That's what they're trying to do here. And I hope something freaking happens, because I'm tired of all these, cliffhangers from everybody. The moment I got out of jail, one of my good friends was like, dude, it's happening next week, bro. And I'm like, what? Everything's happening. What? The financial collapse. I was like, oh, is it though? And that was 2 years ago. And then, like, everyone said September 24th, and nothing happened. And then
of this year,
and then 107 comes on, David Nino's the day after, and he's like, it's October 27th. I don't know what he says next, but why do we keep putting out dates and nothing's happening? It's like they're Bolshevik revolutioning us.
Yes.
soft and calm. So someone else has it. Someone else got this. So we don't do it ourselves. And then all of a sudden we're getting executed. 2 million Russians killed.
Yeah.
So tell us about the hiatus that you've done, and because this is your first interview in the last 2 months, and give us a little bit about. I know you've been able to focus a lot more on music as well. So anything you want to go into on a little bit on that?
Yeah, I don't think I've been on anyone's podcast for like 2 or 3 months. Just because it started to get really, I don't know. It started to feel empty in a way. I felt like people weren't really about goodlion.tv. Like that's what I do. I go around and tell everyone the streaming service I made, because it's I call it's equivalent to a war photographer, but this is a war videographer who is documenting everything left and right that has been hitting us in the news, our news stream, and then making movies out of it that are really enjoyable to watch. And I don't know, I started realizing money isn't everything, and it sucks to have a bit of success because then you realize, oh my God, like all these problems come with it. More money, more problems, man. BIG. And I see that in all these truthers. I'm like, yeah, I know how much. I don't know how I know, but I know how much everyone's making, right? And then it's like, it reflects in your personality too. And it started to burn me out. I didn't want to be like that. So it's very hard to. I didn't want to create a business. I was just making movies and putting them on YouTube. And then YouTube's like, hey, after I put maybe 30 on YouTube, they went to the first one, Swamp, and I had 2 strikes already. So they're like, oh, Swamp, okay, this channel's gone. I was like, wait, you give me a strike for something I made like when I started this channel? What? And so, where was I going with this one? Oh yeah, so I took a break. I didn't even look at sales. I kind of abandoned ship. Like I didn't want to be that oriented. I wanted to figure out what I was doing this all for, because like I just brought up, there's a lot of people who are hanging on to the next thing that might not be real. And I'm like, wait a second, do I not believe in what I started doing this for? What I started doing this for was children. Along the way, it turned into white hat, black hat. Who's who? Who's doing what? Who's good? Who's bad? And that's the mentality. I'm like, did I contribute to this? How can I contribute now to make it more positive? I don't want to train people to be suspicious if I'm a woman. Like, there are people who think I'm a woman because of how paranoid we are now about everything that we've learned, which makes perfect sense. Like, I don't blame anyone for thinking I'm a woman. Thank you. I'm pretty. But nah. Like, his boobs are huge. They're pecs.
Wow. But, I didn't know that was a thing.
I've seen him up close and personal. That would be a shocker, right?
Yeah, they called Alpa a man. They called Alpa a man and me a woman. That's cool. I mean, come over and film.
Maybe they watched too much of I think her name's April Price, her transvestigation channel, or Angela Price. I'll look it up. But yeah, it's like, okay, there's a lot of stuff on there that kind of blows your mind. But
I know
maybe that's what they were watching.
I feel like some of that is just to throw a monkey in the wrench kind of thing. Just to kind of, I mean, how crazy can we make these people sound? Kind of a thing. I mean, not to totally discredit it, because I mean, Big Mike is Big Mike. That was pretty obvious. And
dude, that was the favorite in jail. Telling people about Big Mike, they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, dude. When you get out, you watch my movie Pervywood 2, and you'll see his wang flip-flopping on Ellen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Michael Robinson becoming Michelle Obama.
Oh, and then all those dudes that were involved with Mike's husband.
Right.
They're all dead except for the one that was really vocal about it.
Wow.
They all disappeared.
Yeah. Wow.
I was smart to get out in front of it, I think.
I got a producer friend who just told me who his brother was, and his brother was murdered, he thinks. But his brother used to impersonate George Bush. And he
Wait, not Malik.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm even allowed to say.
You're talking about Mike's brother or
I'll tell you offline. It's a new producer of some of my movies.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, he told me who his brother was, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, dude, people get killed for that? Like, what else did he know?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if they would ever kill me, but the weird thing is that like people I know now were friends with Isaac Happy. And that just makes the world so much smaller. Like, whoa, you were talking to him, you were friends with him? Like, you're friends with me. That means I could die. I could get killed doing this. I don't think I will, though. I really don't. I think they're very low on resources. If they couldn't,
yeah, well, I think that there was a reluctance that, by the way, that the channel's Angel Price, but you know, I started a podcast up in the Northwest, and it, you know, because I just wanted to focus on this area, and then, you know, Scott and I, we have been kicking around the idea of doing this, but I think part of the reluctance was like, I don't want to just jump into something where, you know, something could happen. We've kind of waited for a lot of these things to, after a couple years now, it's like people like you and Vinyamin and Nino and Scott McKay, who's out there, you know, in the public, you know, everyone's still doing their thing. So that gave me a little bit more comfort to even start doing this. Cause
you have to, I mean, you just have to, when you know, and if you don't do something about it, if you don't say something about, if you don't put yourself out there, then how are you going to see yourself 10 years from now? I mean, that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't we're not making any money. This is about sharing the truth.
Yeah.
Truth stream.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, it's about sharing the truth, because we're morally and ethically obligated to do this. And
you
know.
Yeah. And it helps to have a friend to go through it with. I mean, part of my biggest awakening was Scott, and it's just like, you know, we've met so many great people, and ours, you know, it was really cool having Lewis Herms introduce us in Olympia at the Truth Tour, because, you know, he said that there's some truthers out there that are from the heart, and that is Scott and I. We feel like we have to do this, and, you know, we're not, you know, joining a lot of different, you know, MLMs or anything like that. We want to share this with our friends, and we also want people to be able to share this and not feel like an advertisement.
Yeah, you can't share it if it's like, you know, these are 30 seconds from these sponsors and join our MLM, and anybody's going to say, well, that's just an advertisement. You know, you're getting taken. So we don't do any of that shit. But I shot my wad back in like 2016. A lot of polemics, a lot of debates on Facebook, and I lost a lot of friends real fast.
Yeah,
but you know, I grew up with people that got screwed by the Clintons, lots of them, and down the street from me was Bill Clinton's private pilot when he was on the campaign trail to be governor. So I mean, I had the inside scoop on all this shit growing up, and you know, my dad's best friend was the head of federal firearms training for all federal law enforcement. You know, I mean, we had arms dealers for dinner, you know, all kinds of interesting things. So I had a completely different perspective. And when Clinton was running, I was trying to tell people, look, you got to understand. And I ended up getting called a Nazi, which
no, racist. They'll throw those two words at you.
Oh,
Nazi
shit,
and racist. Right. That's what no, not YouTube, but most people, when they want to bring you down, they don't know how to intelligently do it. They'll just call you Nazi right away. You see the media doing it.
I was a high school teacher in an all-black school. There were 4 white people out of 1,000, and I was one of them.
Oh my
and 3 of them were special ed students. So that'll tell you something. I mean, like like all my neighbors, everybody around me, you know, I mean, I was immersed in it and committed to it. These are just people. These are just my neighbors, you know. And so that was like a real shocker, and that was in 2016. Damn. So for me, I wasn't shutting my mouth out of fear. I was shutting my mouth out of exhaustion, because I just couldn't reach these people. There was no way.
Yeah, that's why I started making movies. Exhaustion from exerting debate juice and nothing getting anywhere. I'd realize like I would say things so perfectly, and then I'd wait for a light to turn on, and it would never turn on. I'd be like, man, what's the best way I could do this to where I'm not using so much energy again and again? Movies, because it can hit many people. And
it's so much better now, because, man, I mean, reality is so unreal. I mean, like, if you're looking at this and this seems normal to you, you're insane. Right. You know, I mean, I don't know how normies can
You mean
work every day.
You mean the world that we're in right now?
The world we're in right now.
Not this interview.
No, like everybody. No, not yes. Thanks for the
just want to be clear because this seems.
I mean, we've got it. We've got an invalid geriatric president, and the VP is worse, and she doesn't have the excuse of age. And I mean, there's so much insanity every day. It's like it's like a comedy almost. If it wasn't so tragic,
it would be circus.
It'd be a comedy. We're living it. So
I can't believe it.
We're beginning to crave the truth finally.
Yes. And is that part of a white hat devised plan? Make Biden do these really ridiculous things to where Norm's like,
I believe that it is. Yes,
it's got to be.
It's got to be.
Even
if you look at Biden's legs, well, not his. When he fell on the bicycle, someone pointed out these are 40-year-old dude's legs. That's not his legs. You know, it's like
you just want to put your hair back down.
Oh shit! And he had socks on that had 45. Remember the 45 sock? Biden had a little butt, like there's a 45 on there, like the 45th president.
No shit, I didn't know that.
There's a lot of weird things with Biden.
Yeah. A lot of things to look for.
Yeah.
And I really like, there's a show that I really like. His name's LT and he runs End We Know. And man, it's just so cool because he has the military intel. He breaks it down. You know, he's in touch with source. And I don't know, there's just something about his show where I just resonate with. And I think I could be wrong, but I tagged him and Scotty Marr in a post, and about 2 weeks later, LT started talking about Scotty Marr's, post. So it's been cool in the background to just kind of connect different people, like having Gene Ho and Gene Decode on Nicholas's show. So I've kind of come out of the shadows a little bit myself to even be on here, but it's been cool just kind of working in the background because it's weird that there's so much opportunity once you start seeing, what's going on, to jump in and contribute to this movement. It's been pretty miraculous actually.
Well, and here's the thing, like, with Joe, I mean, Joe was kind of left of center a little bit and just living his normal life kind of a thing. And over the years, I'd tell him all sorts of things and he'd just kind of think, well, Scott's a little eccentric, whatever. Oh, shit. And then because
I had a lot of friends on the left being up in Washington State, it's like, well, but Bernie Sanders is, and
I just shake my head. Yeah. But my point is, these people on the left, when they find out how they've been lied to, and they find out, just some little stitch of reality that they're living in, they're pissed, and they're going to come out with a vengeance. There's this girl on Instagram, and she's like a recovering feminist, and I mean, she is fire. She's a gorgeous girl, and I mean, she's so effective as a recovering, feminist. It's spectacular to see. So I think that's the next wave is going to be.
Oh yeah, they're the ones who are going to get angry. Yeah, they're going to revolt in their way, and if they do it their way, it could be a BLM show.
It's happening.
Yeah, it is. And I think another thing that's going to be interesting, I got to always give props to Josie Dutch, but when people start learning the Donald Marshall story and they start learning that there's people out there that, so Josie is a big part of the Donald Marshall revolution. And if you go to JOSEY Dutch on Instagram, you can see her posts. They're really poignant. And then there's people out there and they won't talk, but you look at her friends. If you go to her Instagram and you look up Phil Chupa and you look, I think it's a sound from the underground. I'll have to look it up. And his name's Aldo. And these are people that have talked about what's going on with what Josie talks about in the whole Donald Marshall thing. And they won't go on interviews because they're afraid of, something possibly happening to them. And I just think when those people feel safe enough to actually come on shows and be part of documentaries, I mean, I'll definitely let you know, because that's going to be mind-blowing information.
It will. Yeah. Max Spears, I did a Follow the White Rabbit. Maybe the second to last movie I did had Max Spears around there, and he's one of the OG truthers like Donald Marshall. Who's I love what he said in the movie. I put some clips in there where he's like, I just stopped using everything technology. I stopped using my phone. I stopped entertaining myself, and I just sat there. And memories would come, and he'd remember what happened to him. And that's part of what I've kind of been doing over the last 2 months, is trying to like get the noise out, because there's so much noise happening. I don't know what's real anymore.
Right.
I've been yanked around everywhere, and I don't know what to believe anymore. And so instead
the goalpost keeps moving. It's like I told this, especially to my mom. It's like, Mom, hang in there. And she's watching her stocks crash. And I told her years ago what she should do. And it's just like, it feels like you've run a marathon. And then, certain things happened 2 years ago in October. And then last year's Red October. And now this year's Red October. And it's just like, it feels like we've run a marathon. It's like, by the way, there's a few more miles, and the finish line wasn't really real. And you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah, that's exactly the exhaustion I feel. And then I see really smart people who I look up to who are part of this, and I'm like, what's going on here? Like, are they really hopeful? I was really hopeful. And then jail happened, and I didn't have I was always on Telegram, always on Instagram, Twitter. I was always on Twitter. And then 45 days of none of that. The TV. I just look at, oh man, that dude's our president. I come out, and the Suez Canal thing started happening. And for me, I was like, what the hell's going on? I lost complete touch with the pulse I had. And that was a gift, because people are still on that. If I didn't go to jail, I'd still be on that. We were waiting and waiting for an emergency broadcast. Is that going to actually happen? I don't know. That's a really complex thing. You could create a huge civil war if you just put out a broadcast. Something has to happen first, and then you got to explain it with the broadcast.
Right.
And I mean, what if there are truthers in this podcast community who are part of the FBI, the CIA? Oh, we know there's a bunch who were part of the CIA. Michael Jaco.
Yeah.
What if he's like in on it? I hope he doesn't watch this. I don't want to see him in public, and he's like, hey, I'm like, uh-oh, you want to arm wrestle? He's cool. Yeah, you just got to question everything. Question me. Question everything is basically, when you watch a Good Lion movie, it's not, there's only one movie I feel like I'm trying to convince somebody of something I'm positive on, and that's Paul McCartney being dead in 1966.
Oh yeah.
Everything else is like question everything. Question where you get your info, because we could be being lied to.
Well, in regards to the Paul McCartney thing, why is there, I believe it's the White Album, and in Sgt. Pepper, it's let me introduce to you the one and only Billy Shears, and there's a gentleman that's named Billy Shears, but when you open the White Album and it's this picture, and it's just like, there are some serious things there that are like, at least you got to question it. But yeah, it's pretty crazy story.
I thought it was crazy. Yeah. I think I originally called it Fall of the Cabal, being a jokester. Like, it's already a movie.
You mean Fall of the Cabal?
Oh, that would have been cooler. Damn. Because it was spelled fall like Paul with an F.
Right.
But then I think I just called it Paul is Dead. And that's on Good Lion. What's crazy, man, there's a lot of good evidence on that one. And that's the only reason why I made the movie. Because I found someone's YouTube channel who just posted the live moments of some of the Beatles slipping, saying too much, calling Paul Billy in public.
Right.
And
much like Barack calling his husband wife Michael.
Yeah, and then saying his did he say his Muslim faith?
Michael.
And he goes, my Muslim faith. And then the person's like, your Christian faith. My Christian faith. Yeah. Dude, I used to be in jail doing like debates between Obama talking to Trump. Why did you order all those hot dogs at 2 a.m., huh? Well, that's none of your business. And so people would like be like, Nick, do it for us. And it'd be like 2 a.m. We're drinking coffee in jail, and I'd put on a little show and say like, I'd red pill him with a little comedy. That shit was fun, dude. Jail was fun, dude. It's because I miss. That's the thing about like where I'm at. It's lonely, and I think a lot of people are here right now in a very lonely spot. Like, I'm not alone. I bring it up to people, and I'm like, oh, maybe this is a collective thing. But it's lonely, dude, and jail was like summer camp with the homies.
Shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like sometimes you almost had more fun in jail.
Dude, straight up, not lying. Not lying. Like, I was a celebrity in that first one, and it taught me so much about life in a macrocosm or macro. Because when I came out, a lot of the things I learned in there from the people that I trusted who betrayed me in there were all little lessons that were going to happen again. And then I thought, whoa, like looking back, it was like training ground, like learning about the sovereignty. Life is such a movie, man. Like, I took DMT just before I went to jail. Not like I knew I was gonna go, but I did DMT with my homie. And in it is where I kind of had the premonition of what was gonna go down. Because before I saw my mom's DNA and her dad's DNA and saw that crazy shit that was going on there, I was in a boat in a tunnel, and all these spirits were trying to fuck with me, but they couldn't. There was like this force field, and all I remember thinking was, this is not your perspective. This is for the collective. You're just observing as a collective, as a camera. And then once I got into jail, I remembered that moment. And I was like, yo, this is not personal. I'm supposed to go through this. And it made everything more of like a treat. Like, it would cost a lot of money to go to a hotel for 45 days and someone's bringing you every meal. But you get to go to jail and they do it for you. You got maids, you know? They work at a jail. They are in jail. You leave jail and they're still there. So, yeah. I mean, I loved it. I wouldn't go back, though.
Right.
Because I got blessed. Like, I realized shortly after, damn, all these jails are really... I was with someone who bought drugs in jail. So I saw how it went down. You go knock on the steel door, you say what you want, and they show you a Cash App tag that you then send money to, and they slip you drugs. And that dude, I spoke to him in Spanish because I heard he spoke Spanish. When I finally got let out of that jail, he got let out of his cell, his jail. He was getting transferred too. I remember like, hey, are you the guy that? And then he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. We hit it off, and he taught me how to get anything I could ever want in jail. It's like, how do you know all this, dude? He's been in there for 2 years. He had alcohol, 3 beds, 3 mattresses. He was just a super charming dude. And when you're in booking rooms, you're in there for like 18 hours. You're just waiting and waiting. So, and you're like in a close vicinity with these people. So you learn a lot. So I was in a
crash course.
What's that?
You got a crash course like right away.
Dude, I really did. It taught me about life, dude, because I was pretty sheltered growing up. My mom didn't really let me get out. She didn't really compliment my art ever. So it was kind of like, yeah. Moms. That's almost a story.
Yeah.
Joe and I, we keep waking our moms up and then they keep falling back to sleep. It's like Groundhog's Day, trying to keep them awake.
Yeah.
Fortunately, they both stayed away from
neither of them got the inoculations. So that's
good.
And they're very, very happy about that.
There should be like a United States survey where it's like, are you questioning why all these people are having heart attacks?
Right.
Is anyone questioning anything anymore? Like, how come there's all these infant sudden deaths or whatever?
Yeah,
like
it's climate change, Nick.
Yeah.
Right.
700 soccer players are now, it's insane what's going on.
It's
climate change is a bitch.
Yeah, huh? Especially right now.
I'll tell you, we've been on this fucking treadmill forever, like years, and it's easy to get cynical. And I think we're all we've been there for a while. But I'm telling you, I'm going to send you Putin's speech. You got to read it, just because we're at an apex.
The one that just came out, right?
Yeah. Did you read it? I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to read it. It's off the hook right now.
It's poignant.
Yeah, like if you were waiting for like shit to just go, nuclear, ultra mega, it just did. Yeah, I mean it's nuts. Yeah,
I mean we are starting to see some real stuff, big stuff.
Yeah.
So I mean,
like the euro and the dollar are almost the same now.
Oh, the petrodollar is over. So really, I mean, when people wake up to the fact that the dollar is worthless, and I mean it kind of it lost 98% of its value since 1971 when I was born. When
we were taking off the
gold standard.
Yeah, right.
And that was just a short time. In 1871, we went bankrupt and got a new status as a corporation. But we're there. This is the mile marker, I think. And I know everybody likes to say that, and then we go another year and we get more exhausted. But I really,
it makes sense,
really
though.
Crazy.
Yeah, because it's midterms are coming up, and you're gonna see things turning up as well. You see Trump going out there doing his thing, and it may just be that Trump comes in and it happens, or it's gonna unravel in the next year because the dollar is a big sign of the Queen,
or the military takes over for a while, and then kind of who knows.
Well, Trump just offered to negotiate a peace deal between Ukraine, Russia, and the United States. That is like the punchline to the best joke ever. I love it so much, and the media is like they don't know what to do with it, so they're just not saying shit that I can see. It's hilarious.
It makes sense. Like he is the last president, you know, and he's like,
look it. I know I'm not supposed to do anything here, but can I negotiate some peace here? I do great at peace. I'm a great peacemaker.
We did it already in the Middle East. He's already done it.
Yeah. I remember when the capitulation where he went around and he made everyone bend the knee like Khaleesi. Yeah.
People do need to watch that film. What Charlie Freak narrates it with the bonfire guard. It's called the Great Awakening, I believe. It's an amazing film.
Yeah, and he took credit for someone else's work. I just gotta put that out there. Charlie Freak.
Charlie Freak. The Charlie Freak version was like 6 hours long. I remember listening to it.
He's a great talker. So.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I love how he speaks. I love him as there's stupid drama that happened that I wasn't around for, so whatever. But he's a smart dude. But I mean, he's fiery. I think he gets mad at people who believe in aliens or demons, and he says they're aliens, and he gets really angry. I don't know, man. Charlie is a little too freaky.
Yeah, watch some G.G. Young if you're confused about aliens versus demons. You get schooled real quick.
Another.
Do you know G.G. Young and the Dark Journalist? Because they're absolutely amazing.
No,
and very few people are that in this community are even aware of them. Cool. It's some of the cleanest, best content that I've seen ever, bar none. It's amazing.
I gotta get on this.
And then Bishop Larry Gators, he's absolutely phenomenal.
Man, I question what happened to him because he was cool as fuck. And then some weird shit happened to him. Some people think he got swapped.
See,
I heard that
Nicholas had brought that up, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Lately I've been watching him. He seems like the same old Bishop Larry Gators to me, but the guy's brilliant.
I never watched him. I was gonna interview him with Lewis. We were in that tour van. It was cool. I was daydreaming of getting a van, a bus, an RV, and touring. And then right when I got out of jail, that's what we did in 2 months with Lewis. He got that RV. But Bishop Larry Gators, we were gonna go and see him, and he like got cold feet right away, like right when we were about to show up, and then he started charging money. It was weird. I don't know. I've never talked to him, but I've heard he's kind of rude. Like he was kind of rude. I don't know. Who cares? We're all human. We all have our faults. No one's perfect. There are truthers who are doing it only for money, and that's their thing. If they're spreading the awareness and the questioning, go for it. If they don't want to work at 9 to 5 and they got to sell gold, go for it. I mean, whatever. There's other ways.
Jassar and Jassar coming up and the wealth transfer. I mean, to me and Scott, I believe we just need enough to get by. We're scraping by. I mean, of course, if we do have, I have a Venmo on my Joe Rosati Collective site, and anything I get, I would split it with him immediately because right now there's really nothing.
Yeah, we haven't even dropped a Venmo or anything.
Yeah, we don't even say please like, subscribe, and follow. We don't even do any of that.
Yeah, we don't even ask for the smash because if you're on YouTube, you've heard it already.
I mean, everybody else says it for us. We're crying out loud,
That's
so
good.
I don't know.
That's how Goodline started, man. It was always free. It was on YouTube. They deleted me after 60,000 subscribers. And then I was already tampering with the idea of it was supposed to be called Goodline.stream. And then I made all this stuff for it. And I was like, no. And then I found TV, Goodline.tv. And then for the first, could have been a year, it was free. And then I kind of developed it over time, and then I ran out of unemployment because I got fired for being a Trump supporter right when COVID happened. So I blamed it on COVID. So I got unemployment. And for a year, I was given the bare minimum to keep going, making these movies. And then I remember charging, and I was like, is this going to work? And it worked. Blew me away, actually. Like, this is too much too soon. Yeah, because I was always afraid of money. Money was like came with negative. I watched Zeitgeist when I was like 18, so I hated money. I saw what the U.S. was doing with money. And then I changed my perspective once the UPW thing happened. And it made me realize we're all abundant. And we're all probably going to find out we're way more abundant because of all this XRP and everything, dude. Yeah. But then it just unraveled in a way where I was like, okay, God, you're in control. I'll keep doing this. I don't know for how long. I don't really like sitting all the time. I'm an active dude. So I've committed to doing one movie a month. There's 16 episodes that come out with someone I produce with. That's Alessandro. His are more like you want some information, chop, chop, chop. That's where you get it from him. He's a great independent journalist, investigator. He's good. And then mine's like, hey, let's go watch a movie. Let's watch something that's entertaining while we learn. But then, and then now I got someone putting daily feed, like reels, very quick, 2 to 5 minute.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good because then there's daily content. People will come every day. Let me show everyone in case they haven't seen it. Yeah. This is Goodline.tv. It's gone through 2 years of facelifts, and
you can share the screen, right?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see here. And if you're just going to the site for the first time, it'll take a couple seconds because there's like probably 1,000 movies on there.
Yeah.
And once you have it in your cache, it'll upload quicker. All right, good line support. There's a chat now there, and here how to navigate. The homepage is kind of just for looks. All right, log in if you're a member and head to the menu and click Films, TV series, Red Pill Cinema. That's up here. Good Line Films. These are all the movies I made. Let me just show you real quick. What's on the front right now is Oprah. We just did Privy with Oprah, and that got my last YouTube deleted because I put the whole thing on there. And so, all right, here's a flavor. No, here's all my movies.
Yep, there they are.
This is Jonathan Mellis, the guy that I was hoping to bunk with in the DC jail. He wrote a letter when he was in the hole, and I turned that letter into an experience. Yeah, we go from Fauci. You can see it all, man. Like
it's all there.
Yeah, so here's Swamp. Here's the first one. The reality of child sex trafficking. Shit. Yes, and Storm was a Q movie. These were fun to do, and I had a psychic telling me that you got to write your own movie because I was always going on Twitter looking for threads. She's like, you need to write your own, and the only thing I realized was that all these people who hated Trump were holding their own secrets in. Those who yelled the loudest have the most to hide. So that just stuck in my head. So I figured out a way to make a 20-minute short that highlighted 3 people that were huge Trump haters. In this case, it was Howard Stern, Robert De Niro, and Kathy Griffin, who's actually a man, who is Anderson Cooper's brother. Carter Cooper. Anyway, and it hit. It was massive. It was like 500,000 views. And I was like, holy shit. And so I kept going. I made probably with 2, 3. Now there's like 14 of them. But yeah, here's TV series. Check this out. This is Alessandra and I creating stuff together. Because there's so much, it does take a little bit of time. Come on, not in front of my friends.
Hello, damn it. Hello.
Oh, my friends are watching. I don't even. Oh, there we go. All right, cool.
There we go.
Make sure to check out Tears in Heaven. It's a pro-life perspective TV series. Actually, the newest one is The Pope and the Pimp. This is man. This is cool. I like Alessandra's titles. When we go from everywhere, man. I met Alessandro because I wanted to make a movie on Anthony Bourdain, and Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington. And then I found he was writing a movie about it. And I thought, man, his trailer doesn't look that good. So then I hit him up. I'm like, you want to join forces? And I made Purview 8, Hall of Fate.
Nice.
Yeah, so he's been just crushing it. And so, yeah, if you want to watch any show, just click on the picture here and it'll take you to it.
Right on, dude.
Oh, it was a Crowley piece. I want to see that.
Yeah, that one's good.
The Crowley, yeah. Boy, that's a deep rabbit hole. Jeez.
Killers Unknown. That's the whole Bourdain saga, man. That one gets deep. But this guy, man, he can research anything for you, man. He can find anybody for you. He knows so much. I think he's
where is he based out of? I mean, I don't know, maybe he doesn't want people to say, but is he in the US? Is he?
No, he was on this side of the world and he just moved to the other side of the world. That's
okay, we'll leave it at that. There we go.
Yeah. There's Good Line Records. Joe, you should be on here.
Yeah, we got to figure that out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's my latest album.
Because Nick and I did a video together with Scott last year. But yeah, tell us about it. And I'm trying to keep this one about an hour and a half. I mean, we could go on for forever on this.
Wait, I thought we were going 72.
Oh God.
No,
don't make Jason Q jealous, man.
No.
Hey, Jason.
I'm going to be Joseph Q. So tell us a little bit about your latest music output, and then we'll kind of tie this up with the bow and get any last little bit.
Sure.
And then we'll have you back. I mean, obviously, sometimes it's a challenge to get Alvear to do a podcast, but we
changed.
Why now?
I done changed, son.
Yeah,
you got a home at church.
Yeah, you had to focus on yourself for a while. I appreciate that.
I did. And I'm glad that me coming out of the shells on this one. You know?
Yeah, dude. It's
so happy to have you, man.
Yeah,
wait a while. It's nice.
Yeah, but just give us a little scoop in your latest musical release, and then we'll tie this up with a bow.
It ties in with everything because I've been like exploring my darkness, and I'm running out of it. This is pretty much what I'm noticing. So I call it running out of darkness. And I think everyone else is going through it too. You know, there's a lot of people going through that, whether they want to or not. But this I made in a week. And sometimes you can tell. You're like, hey, that sounds like elevator music. It's one person said. I'm like, fuck you, man. That's a test. Because a lot of my songs, especially in this one, they're like 3 songs in one. So if you're listening in the beginning and you're like, it switches up very quick. And I sing in them. It's all experimental, chill, wave. I don't know how to really describe it, but this one was fun to do because I missed making music. Normally I'm making way more music. Not even all my albums are on here. That's the thing. I got to fix it up and add them all. But I've been making my albums since 2018. No, maybe 2017. But I've been making music since I was a kid. So there was a lot of stuff that I got to release and paint my movies with. So yeah, like
very cool.
Beginning of Oprah has one of the songs I just put on that album. The album's free. It's donation based. So if you want to donate to the cause, go for it. If you want to just download it for free, you can do that too. Good Line is paying. Subscribe. You get access to watch all the, that's actually one of the most important parts, is the Red Pill Cinema. All the greats of our time who've been making these movies. I've got them all. So like Mouthy Buddha, Follow the Cabal, Waranon, or We Are Anon, I guess is how you pronounce it.
So it's also a portal for other people's films. That sounds cool. That's very cool.
That's what I was like pushing it as. And then people were like, dude, we love that you're putting Good Line first. And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe I didn't do that earlier. The Waranon, if you want to believe in flat earth, you want to be a real believer, and you want to be convinced, watch that. That's just crazy, man. This got me out of a depression, realizing, wait a second. Like it ties in Tartaria and these Russian architecture that was used for free energy. And Mr. Truth Bomb is one of the best at making you remember this is all part of the plan. And so I need to remember, because look, I really believe in devolution theory. It's just that I haven't seen much of anything to believe in this theory, but it's all out there. Everything's in executive orders.
Yep.
And then Mouthy Buddha, of course, cool dude who may be dead. I don't know, but if you scroll down, you'll see Red Pill Cinema 2.0.
Nice.
There's a Red Pill Cinema down below as well, but in let's see here. There we go. Follow the Cabal 2, season 2. Follow the Cabal season 1.
Yep.
John Levi or Levy, this guy's like a real historical teacher. He'll show you stuff like Awaranon. He's got everything on here. Awaranon, the lost history of flat Earth, man. I love that. Mr. Truth Bomb, like we covered, and Matthew Buddha. Forbidden History, man. Look at they trumped. They did a Trump on Adolf Hitler. When you watch this series, you're gonna realize that Adolf was most likely a good dude, doing the right thing.
I have heard that.
Right, and
I've also heard Adolf is Disney. Right? Have you heard that too?
I've heard you tell me that. I haven't gone down that one.
I don't know.
I kind of like that, man, but he could have gone to Chile. He could have gone to South America. In the hills of Chile, there are only German-speaking people. You're like, wait, am I in a Germantown? And Europa goes along with it because you'll find out a lot of the truth when it comes to the Holocaust. You'll realize a lot of the things that were created for us to believe.
Right, I do believe that.
The D class on the JFK file, and it was just we were hoping for the whole thing. We only got a little bit, but what we did get out of it was that Hitler was still alive in 1955, according to the CIA, which is pretty trippy. Wow. I mean, you know, the official story is obviously bunk. I think we all always knew that, but and what was interesting, we knew Trump was gonna, well, he was a big advocate for declassing the whole thing, and then I guess he had a conversation. He had a big falling out with Judge Napolitano, who's kind of a big libertarian, and he's like, "You got to declass it. The people need to know. They need to know." And he said, "I can't possibly. If you knew what was in it, you would understand. There's no way I can declass all of this." And it makes me wonder what the hell is in it, right? What is in it? A guy like Trump can't declass it.
And hopefully he can't declass it yet.
Yeah, they had a huge falling out over it. I don't even think they're friends anymore because of it.
Do you know about Admiral Byrd when he went up north and his ship was taken over by two other ships that had swastikas on them?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's up with that? And Hitler had the bell, the time travel bell. Like, what were they up to, man? And then they created NASA to hide what they had learned.
Right. Yep. It's the rabbit hole's deep.
So deep.
Very deep.
So deep.
All right, brother. Well, we're looking forward to hanging out with you when we come to LA in about 3 weeks. We'll be putting this out. I'll send you all the links.
Perfect.
We'll link everything. So awesome. Dude, thank you. I'm glad you're in a better place. We really appreciate you being on the show, and
thank you. Thanks for having me, man. Yeah, it's always fun talking with you guys, and we're gonna have some good times in this near future.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, true to her. It's gonna be a blast.
All right, bro. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Have a great day, man.
All right.
Yeah. Peace.